Well, I know you've written an article. Let's look at pick 54, 2024 draft prospects that the Browns would be worth looking at if they keep that 54th pick. So you gave me a wide receiver, Keon Coleman, Florida State. What do you like about him?
Well, let me preface this by saying, I've said before that I think the Browns really should trade down because they only have 5 picks, 2 in the top 150. These are guys that would be reasons for me to abandon that idea if I were the Browns to stay put. So Keon Coleman, well, I to me of these 3 guys is the first one that comes to mind on me. He was a guy that really, did not run well at the combine, a 4.61 40, only a 1.62 10-yard split. So there were some questions, about his speed, but then you watch him play and he plays much faster on the field than the 40 time. He's got great size, 6'3", 213, outstanding hands. You watch his highlights, makes a couple of amazing one-handed catches, and he's very fluid in the open field, which for me is a big thing. Like I've said before, football's not a straight line game. Can you bend? Can you run diagonal, sideways, those sorts of different things? And I think Keon Coleman could do those things. Mike, the reason he could fall to 54 is, he could get lost in the shuffle with some of these faster guys. Adonai Mitchell, Troy Franklin, Xavier Worthy, Ladd McConkey, among others. There's so many receivers in this class, from pick 20 to 60 or 70 that could just go all over the place. Certainly some guys are more likely to go in the first round than others. So Coleman, to me, because of that, slow 40 time, maybe that speed doesn't translate to the 40, would be interesting. And I think that would give me pause on a trade down if a guy like Keon Coleman was there, because we've seen from Deshaun Watson's history, he likes big receivers, particularly, that connection he had in Houston with DeAndre Hopkins.
Another guy that you like, and I've heard a number of guys like this that we've talked to on the show, Edan Cooper, linebacker, Texas A&M. What do you like about him?
Well, Edan Cooper is an interesting player to me. I know people would be like, well, why would you have the Browns taking a linebacker in the second round? It's worth noting, as much as we've said linebacker is not a premium position, Andrew Berry has traded up just once in his first 4 drafts as a GM, and the player he traded up for, a linebacker. So that's why I think it's at least an interesting idea to me. I think Edan Cooper certainly, has the ability to complement JOK pretty well. Good size, 6'2", 230. Again, a theme for me. He moves really well. He's very good 3-down linebacker. He really was a much better player going downhill last season for Texas A&M, and he has the movement ability and the length to be a weapon in coverage. If you're looking for a linebacker, because just they haven't had that long, they need to see if they can find another long-term option opposite JOK. And if you're going to find that, you need a guy who's got 3-down value, and I think Edan Cooper's got true 3-down value.
All right, and the third guy. That pick 54 that you think the Browns should think about, at least keeping that pick. Chris Jenkins, defensive tackle from Michigan. What do you like about him?
Stout run defender, and he is an absolute monster athlete. I've talked before about his Turkish getup before. If you want to look it up on YouTube, it is a tremendous display of athleticism. It looks much harder. I described it, when you hold the dumbbell in one hand, and you have to stand all the way up and then back down. It just shows the kind of athlete I think he is. 6'3", 305 pounds, already a very good run defender, not quite a good pass rusher just yet, but I think, with defensive tackle being a position where I've kind of said in the past that I feel like it's a position, unlike most others, where it not necessarily a true redshirt season, but it's kind of a pseudo redshirt season. And I think with where the Browns defensive tackle group is, you can work Jenkins in slowly, and he's going to be able to defend well against the run. He's got power. He's got, burst for a defensive tackle. He can hold up blocks and really create disruption in the middle. And you give him that time, off to the side, work behind the scenes to develop those pass rush moves. If he gets those, then you have the makings of a very talented defensive tackle. And I think that's one thing I think the Browns could use is, a good young defensive tackle who can create some pressure on the interior. Because we say 1,000 times, the one place quarterbacks don't want to see that pass rush coming is right up the middle.